What's up, everyone? This is Dallas head coach Rambo Ray, and welcome to another State of the Empire episode. Today, we're going to be talking about this weekend's event. It was the Dallas homestand. For those who didn't watch, I suggest you go watch. Our team got third, fourth. We lost to the Rocker in the semifinal. I kind of just spoiled it, but you probably should have watched if you're watching this video. But yeah, no, it was an interesting weekend. We played the LA Guerrillas, the Toronto Ultra in our pool play. We were able to come out on top in some closer matches than we were expecting. There's a lot of things going on this weekend that were new, right? Because we played it was our first CDL matches that we played online, so there's some adjustments to make there compared to what we expect at events when we play in LAN. The playing environment ended up being a lot different than our scrimming environment. You would think that's kind of like crazy to say. Because we practice online, so you would expect it to be the same, but it really wasn't. There was some issues, even though the CDL improved them every day. We encountered some technical issues on the connection front and connectivity to servers that they were providing to try and create a fair play environment. But it's kind of at the end of the day, when you play online, there's always going to be some sort of advantage for some people, regardless of what happens. It's never been perfect. It's never going to be perfect. They're doing the best they can to make it as fair as possible. So yeah, we played the LA Guerrillas in the first match. We were able to come out on top on that. We made some pretty incredible plays to really come out of that match. We won all three respawns. That was the only search and destroy we lost all weekend. So kind of as a positive note, a little bit kind of skipping ahead, but a positive note for the weekend for us is our search and destroy game showed some very drastic improvements. Our team play was incredible. Our understanding of what we needed to make happen in certain specific scenarios when we were like 2v3 or 3-on-3, or kind of a scenario play, so to speak, was very good. So me as a coach, with a team that doesn't practice much search and destroy, we kind of sat down and hashed it out before the tournament and really kind of try to get a sense of what we were trying to accomplish on the map in search and destroy for all the maps, really, to try and take out of our weaknesses that we've shown as of late in search. So it was really exciting for me to see our team kind of thrive and really kind of showcase that we're a very strong search and destroy team. Skipping ahead to the Toronto Ultra match, Toronto Ultra is actually one of the teams that I was kind of looking forward to playing, because they're a team that's made a decent amount of roster changes this year, kind of in the dark a little bit. Not really in the dark, but because they're one of the teams that have been utilizing their substitute players that were actually on the roster already. You haven't really heard so much about the changes they've made on the roster. They made a few changes as of late, and I feel like Toronto is probably one of the most improved teams since the LA event online, at least from our scrims. Our scrims, and speaking of, they show up every time, and they show the heat. They are a good team, and I think they're gonna have a good chance of winning some of the events, or at least put themselves in a position where I can win some events for the rest of the year. Their coach, Marky B, is a very well-talented player of his own and a very good communicator. So I feel like he's probably one of the big reasons that team is having success. And the players have just been playing good as of late. So that was one of the match that was kind of a dark horse. A dark horse. The players going into it were very vocal about, like, hey, look, these guys are no joke. They've been bringing the heat online in these scrims, so we're going to have to give it our all to beat them. And it was really exciting to see, again, our team do well in search and destroy against a team like that. They stole a respawn off of us. We were able to kind of come out with some fire and bring the match on our side with some very clutch kind of last-minute plays. And that also on its own is exciting for me as a coach, because earlier in the year when I wasn't on the team yet, and I'm not saying that because I made those changes, it's more the players are adapting to seeing those situations and are starting to understand the way to react to those scenarios, especially those end game kind of moments. Like, people say they have ice, like the ice is kind of quote unquote for they kind of come clutch. They really kind of show up when it's time to make the big plays. And the guys are understanding how to react to those situations from a pressure standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, and also just from a playing standpoint. Just the scenarios they're seeing are coming out more and more, and they're able to react to them a lot better than they used to be. So that's really exciting for me as a coach, because you're going to see a lot more of these kind of crunch time plays as the year goes on, as the teams kind of get closer in understanding of the game. And it's just, that's kind of the reality of it, is the meta and the skill gap and the understanding, the knowledge gap between teams is not going to be as great as the year goes on. So there's going to be a lot of these plays, a lot more of these plays, and it's exciting for me to see our guys kind of start coming out on top more and more, and also almost to a point where we don't really lose these anymore. So it's super exciting and really good for me to see that, and also for any fans of our team to see that. That was it for our Friday and Saturday. So we move on to the bracket. We played the Minnesota Rocker. The Huntsmen were playing Florida. We were actually we were watching that match at least while we were warming up, and we were expecting Huntsman to win. I think everyone was. So when we saw Florida win, I was kind of a big kind of whoa, like what is this? Like this is interesting. So I mean, not saying it took any focus for our match, but it was very interesting to see. So we kind of went to the Rock. We saw the Rocker as like this might be the final. Like this is our match to take, and we're going to do the best we can to win this match. The Rocker came out firing on all cylinders, to say the least. I think we got outslayed by like 75 kills total in respawn modes for the 3 maps, which is absolutely absurd. Granted, take it with a grain of salt. Again, there was some. I'm not gonna like use it as an excuse, but we've scrimmed this team a lot recently, and nothing has ever looked like this. We've lost some games, granted, but we've never lost games in this fashion. So it's very kind of eye-opening to see those things. I feel like the biggest thing we can kind of take out of this, apparently, I can't really hear it while we play, but the players were saying our communications were pretty hectic in that match. So that's one thing that I'm looking forward to try and fix with the guys moving forward, since our next event is in 2 weeks, is to really kind of make a sense of what is the differences in what we practice when we scrim and when we compete. Normally when you play in an event, it's a little different. There's a lot of kind of surrounding noise. Everything is almost hectic of its own. But when you play online and like we're playing at home basically, which is the same setup that you have when you scrim, there shouldn't be a drastic difference in how you see the game or how you play the game on a competitive level when you scrim and when you compete. There's going to be a little more kind of excitement, I guess you can say, and the emotional stance is a little more there because you're competing for something. But the players seem to be making sense or saying that it was pretty drastically different. So that's probably as a takeaway for us. That we're going to be looking forward to working on is really trying to figure out how we can make our communication as stable as possible and mostly kind of compare to how when we scrim, because we're very successful when we scrim against these teams. And that's kind of that's kind of what it was. We lost the first map. Again, it was just we lost by 30 points. We got outslayed by 25 kills, I think. So that's kind of like we can kind of go look back and like, did we make mistakes from a playing standpoint, or like did we take the wrong routes? But when you get outslayed by that much, especially against a team like the Rocker, where they take very much advantage of the mistakes you make, and they play very well positionally, when you get beaten in kills like that, you really have very little chance to win a game. The fact that we actually kept as close as it was, to me, is an indication of how well we are doing from a routing and positional standpoint of how we approach the game. Because we shouldn't even come close to winning a game when we get outslayed by that much. Most teams wouldn't. So the fact that we almost won the first map and that on that front was kind of exciting for me to see. We showed very much our strengths in Search and Destroy again. I think we won like 6-1 or 6-2 on Piccadilly, a map that we got wish-washed on by FaZe in LA, and a map that the Rocker beat FaZe in LA. So it was kind of like showing like our Search and Destroy, at least for that map specifically, wasn't up to par. So what we went over and really kind of make sure that we were ready for really showed off at the event, which is exciting for me to see again. Because at the end of the year, Search and Destroy are going to be mostly everything, since dominations and hard points are going to be very closely contested as most teams get better at them and figure out. Search and Destroy is always kind of that lopsided mode where there's so many situational plays and different strategies you can use that there's never really a point where the kind of the strategic point of the game is saturated to where all the teams are even. There's always going to be a discrepancy in Search and Destroy. So that, again, I'm excited about, and I can't iterate enough. And then we played a domination again, was pretty close till the end. We just got outslayed again by like I think 20 or 15 kills, which is, again, when you play these kind of respawn modes, when you get killed that much, it's just hard to win games. Again, against a team like the Rocker, even more so. And then again, same story in Hackney Yard. We lost by 60 points, and then they just outslayed us by I think almost 30. Which from the scrims, again, the biggest thing for me is what's frustrating as a coach is that when we've scrimmed online, this has never been the case. We've never gotten outslayed this bad. Granted, like again, there's different circumstances, and I don't feel like it's on the guys as much as I hate to say it. It feels like the connectivity issues that we had this weekend were probably some of the reason to why we got outslayed by as much as it was. Again, we had issues on our own side, and we're going to try and fix those. But we hope that next time around we have a better shot of winning these games, and hopefully we can change those things for the better. But yeah, that was basically it, guys. If you have any questions, again, there was a few questions last time. I kind of forgot to mention that, but sorry about it again. If you guys have questions, I'll probably take more time to answer those next week, since there's no kind of recap to really talk about, so we can kind of dive more deeper into the Q&A. I apologize for those who asked questions in the previous video. I'll do a better job of answering next time. And again, I hope you guys have a good day and a good week, and looking forward to next week and talking to you guys again, and have a good one. That was the Stadium Empire. Take it easy, guys.